Mick Luna mission log, stardate 2705. This video is about to proceed. Greetings! Lieutenant Luna here. Welcome to the channel. This channel is about all things Buzz Lightyear and his universe. Well, my inspiration for doing this channel comes from Lightyear, the new movie, of course, about the origins of the real human Buzz Lightyear. And I just want to say before we start, I have wanted this to be a thing from the first time I ever saw Toy Story when I was younger. I was instantly drawn to Buzz. He's an astronaut, he's from a sci-fi world similar to Star Trek and Star Wars. He has an awesome design, a laser, a jetpack, a flip-up communicator on his wrist, and will never give up to do what's right. And so if anybody says nobody asked for this movie, tell them they're wrong. I asked for this. And I'm pretty sure Seamus Gorman definitely wanted it too.
They're making that movie that he's based off, like an in-universe movie about what Buzz Lightyear is. If I ever could have dreamed up the movie I wanted to see more than anything, this is that movie.
So without further ado, let's get into the video. Evil Emperor ZURG. Sworn enemy of the Galactic Alliance. Arch enemy of Buzz Lightyear. And the one question everybody has asked as soon as ZURG showed his face way back in Toy Story 2, is he a robot? Before we can answer that with absolute certainty, let's go back to the early days, the Toy Story 2 concept art. As you can see here in the early concept art for ZURG, he's possibly depicted as a small alien inside a robotic suit of armor, which, if you didn't know, is a classic sci-fi trope used in many of the old sci-fi movies or shows. It's quite a classic thing and it's done a lot. Well, it used to be done a lot. It's not so much now, but it was. And would also explain why he travels on wheels. That's ZURG, that is. The toy version ZURG, why he travels on wheels. That would explain that. Whether or not this means ZURG is actually a little alien inside a suit and Pixar kept this idea, we can't really be sure about. So, let's look at the clues. We're going to start with clues from the Toy Story movies first, and then move on to the clues from the Lightyear trailers and promos. I would use the hints from Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, the TV show, because there are quite a few about ZURG's identity, and it's quite interesting. However, I don't think that series is canon to Buzz Lightyear's universe anymore, unfortunately. Lightyear is. So we can't go off the show because the hints wouldn't have meaning if we're trying to figure out ZURG's identity in Lightyear. So anyway, but there are a few things in Lightyear that hint to it as being in the same universe as Buzz Lightyear of Star Command. So if you want me to do a video talking about it, just leave a comment. So, let's start with the big one, of course.
Surrender, Buzz Lightyear. I have won.
I'll never give in. You killed my father.
No, Buzz. I am your father.
The infamous I am your father scene from Toy Story 2. Now, I'm sure you're thinking, well, that was just a reference to Star Wars and it's just a joke. And you'd be right, but if the toy Buzz Lightyear and toy ZURG are based on the characters and events from Lightyear, which if you don't know is a movie based on a movie inside the Toy Story universe, then surely the toys and their phrases would be based off lines from the movie and the events that happened in it. If that is true, then the reference becomes less of a parody and more of an actual story point. And so that would mean that ZURG is actually Buzz's father, and then he would have to be human. Unless maybe Buzz is adopted, or was created by ZURG with some sort of machine, but this just seems very unlikely, and to be honest, a bit too far-fetched. So if ZURG is Buzz's dad, then we can rule out the possibility of him being an alien. Because if ZURG did have a kid, obviously it wouldn't be human, unless ZURG species are shapeshifters and can change their appearance to look like a human. You know, but that's just ridiculous. I'm going a bit of a tangent, and Buzz isn't going to be an alien, obviously. It even specifies it in the description for Lightyear, he's a human. So, if he's Buzz's dad, he's not an alien. And he's not a robot. He's either human, or he's a cyborg. Since ZURG is actually based, of course, heavily off Darth Vader, it would make sense if he's actually a cyborg. There's not really much else in terms of clues to who he really is, to be honest, in the movies. I mean, he feels anger, fear, and he's very driven and passionate and wanting to destroy Star Command and of course Buzz. But all those things could be programmed into a robot, you know? So there's not much to go off in the Toy Story movie. Zurg is always very mysterious. And so I think we've pretty much covered everything from the movies, so let's just move on to Lightyear now. So, moving on to Lightyear. To be honest, there is even less information about Zurg's identity, which is the thing with Zurg. This is why this video is going to be hard to do. We'll just have to wait, of course. But, you know, however, these are just the trailers, and we'll have to wait to see the movie to find out who Zurg really is. We'll have to theorize until then. So, prior to the first official trailer, there was no appearance of Zurg whatsoever in full form. In the teaser trailer, there was a few teasers like the evil-looking capsule-like thing that opened up with some red smoke, you know, kind of covering and kind of hiding what was inside it. And also the back of Zurg walking along the lineup of Zurg bots with that shuttle rising up. But as soon as we got that official first trailer, everything changed. We finally got the reveal that we wanted. We saw Zurg. Still not much was shown, but we got more insight into the look and feel of this movie Zurg. And we also got some dialogue finally from Chris Evans' Buzz, which included the line,
"We're being pursued by just a massive robot."
So you might now think, oh, so Zurg's a robot then. But since this seems like the first time Buzz has actually had a run-in with Zurg, and considering he does look quite robotic, it makes sense Buzz would think he's a robot. So it doesn't necessarily mean he actually is one, it just appears that way. So, we also see Zurg smashing up some control panels in anger, probably from something that Buzz has done. Maybe he's destroyed one of his outposts, or has escaped Zurg's grasp again or something. But like I said, anger is something that could be coded into a robot if it, like, gets triggered. So, again, you know, it's the same thing as before. So, here we go. Let's move swiftly on to trailer number 2. Starting with the big thing, we hear Izzy say,
"To destroy the alien ship. I have a plan and I have a team."
Okay, now, this could mean one or two things. This could mean two things. One, Izzy knows that Zurg is actually an alien, which is why she said the alien ship. Or two, which is the most likely reason, is just because it's a ship of unknown beings that aren't from Izzy's planet. So she's obviously going to call them aliens. There isn't much else on Zurg in these trailers, really. Nothing that needs to be explained anyway. I mean, really, Zurg has always been a mystery throughout Toy Story, and even now in Lightyear. So, I think we've pretty much covered everything about Zurg, really, excluding Buzz Lightyear's Star Command, of course, because that's not canon anymore. So, what's the verdict? I think he's a cyborg. Yeah, I think he's a cyborg. It seems like the most likely outcome. Again, being based on Vader, it would make sense. Then it would also be possible for him to be Buzz's father too, so maybe when Buzz was born, Zurg was a normal, human, until something bad happened and then was forced to leave Buzz and construct a suit to keep him alive. Of course, you know, similar to Darth Vader and General Grievous too, actually, given that he's a cyborg as well. One of mine and a lot of people's earlier theories, actually, were that that giant mech form of Zurg is actually a robot, but don't worry, actually a robot that's being remotely controlled by Zurg from his command center, maybe. And while that is still entirely possible, it seems less likely now that we've seen all the toys for the movie, and the art, and the TV spots, and none have given any indication that the massive robot Zurg we see is actually being remotely controlled. And I also say, I really miss Zurg's cape, you know. I hope it's in the movie at some point. But to be honest, it seems like that's not going to happen since this universe seems quite realistic and grounded. But if Zurg is controlling a robot mech, then maybe the actual Zurg will have his cape and robes and will be much shorter than the mechanized form, but still taller than Buzz, like of course in Toy Story. So, yeah, I think he'll either be a cyborg, or the giant Zurg we see will be a decoy of the real Emperor Zurg. And, well, really, that'll be all for this video, guys. I know it was pretty short, but like I said, there isn't much to go off really in terms of who Zurg really is and where he came from, what his origins are, if he's Buzz's father, or whatever, you know. It is honestly quite cool to think like how mysterious ZURG is and who he is and where he comes from. It's quite like Darth Vader in the original trilogy in Star Wars. Then we finally learnt that we found that out in the prequels, and I hope in Lightyear we will figure out who ZURG is. I'm pretty positive that we will. So yeah, if you did enjoy this video and you want to see more, subscribe and drop a comment telling me what you think. I'd love to keep the theories going down in the comment section. I've also got loads more theories about Lightyear, guys, endless of them. So if you want to see them, just tell me. So, I think there's only one thing left to say.
To infinity
And beyond.